Hi, today I'm going to talk about healthy lifestyles and goal setting in your fertility journey. And the reason why I'm doing this video today is because I have been asked this question a lot about what can you eat, what activities can you do, what should you avoid in your fertility journey. So I thought of doing a video so that people can actually come back to it when they are free and they can understand what a healthy lifestyle is when we're talking about your fertility journey. So there are a few things that we need to talk about. Number one is nutrition and hydration, followed by physical activity, caffeine, alcohol, and smoking. All those things affect your fertility journey. So we are going to talk about each one of them today. The first one, I don't know if you can see it very well, has to do with nutrition and hydration. So if we go online, we can get very overwhelmed with the amount of things we are told that we can eat or that we should avoid. It's very overwhelming. So I always rely on research. What is research telling us of what we should be eating and avoiding? And the number one thing is trans fats. We need to avoid trans fats. Trans fats are naturally occurring fats, so we have them naturally in food in small amounts, predominantly in dairy foods, lamb, meat, cheese, milk. So if we eat them in these small amounts in their naturally occurring form, there's actually very little evidence that will cause any harm. But if we eat trans fats that happen when we fry vegetable oils, for instance, if we are cooking and we are using a vegetable oil, the process of frying transforms that vegetable oil into trans fats. Or when vegetable oil is used and hardened to produce butter or margarine, that is a trans fat as well. So if we are baking, for example, making cookies or cakes, and we are using butter or margarine, that's a hardened vegetable oil that has trans fats. And what we know about trans fats is that they increase your cholesterol levels. So increasing your cholesterol levels, we know that you will be accumulating the fat in your arteries, and that can affect, has a general effect on your body, can create clots not only in your brain, in your heart, in your legs, but it also affects the capacity of your uterus to become pregnant. So we know that we want to avoid trans fats. That's the number one thing in your fertility journey. Another thing that you need to be mindful of in terms of nutrition is to use more vegetable oils as opposed to other fats that you have available that are not as healthy for you. And if you decide between cooking, poaching, or grilling meat are generally more healthy forms of cooking as opposed to frying. So it's having that choice and making the choice that is more healthy for you. And number two is about protein. We know that people who eat more protein are less fertile than people who eat less protein. And if we compare animal protein with vegetable protein, we know that people who eat more vegetable protein are more fertile. So turning from animal protein to general protein is a good choice as well. We can also talk about carbs. There are a lot of diets. Some diets tell us to avoid carbs altogether, and the matter is not as such to avoid the carbs, but to choose the right carbs to eat and the carbs that we should be avoiding. So we should be eating carbs that are rich in fiber, like whole grains, vegetables, whole fruits, and avoid carbs like bread, rice, or potatoes. And the importance of making this choice is because it will allow you to maintain the levels of insulin in your body. It will allow that your body to regulate those levels, and that will affect your ability to get pregnant as well. Another aspect has to do with milk. Usually we say that we should drink skim milk, because skimmed milk doesn't have the extra fat of semi-skimmed or whole milk. However, for a reason that we cannot explain, we don't know why this happens, when we are trying to get pregnant, whole milk seems to be better compared to other forms of milk. So research advises that we should, if we're trying to get pregnant, we should start drinking whole milk for this period of time, and then eventually, once you get pregnant, you can switch again to skimmed milk. Another very important aspect to think about in terms of your nutrition and hydration is to take a multivitamin. So multivitamins will get you all those extra vitamins that you are not getting from your food. And one that is very, very important is folic acid. So folic acid, you should be starting folic acid even before you get pregnant. And the dose is about 400 micrograms every day. It's also very important to get iron from plants. And those plants will be cereals and dark vegetables that are also very rich in iron. And another aspect regarding your nutrition has to do with drinking. We say that water is the fluid of choice. So drink and drink a lot. Keep your body hydrated. When it comes to coffee, we should avoid it. Let me see if I can show you the data on coffee. So it says here, regarding coffee, it increases the length of time it takes to get pregnant and decreases the amount of live birth rates, and it affects the health of the fetus that is developing inside you. And very small amounts, even 50 milligrams of coffee, can have this effect. So trying to reduce the amount of coffee that you are taking every day is also a good step. And we must not forget that coffee is not only present in coffee, but in tea as well, and in chocolate. So chocolate also has caffeine, so make account for that as well. Another important aspect is if you are a little bit overweight, that can have a big impact in your fertility, because your hormones can be unbalanced. As well, if you are very skinny, you can also stop ovulating, so that will affect your fertility. So it's important to be in the right, to have the right amount of body weight. And what we say is our BMI should be between 20 and 24. So it's just right in the middle. So if you are a bit underweight, you need to work towards getting a bit of weight. And if you are a bit overweight, reducing even 5% of your weight can have a huge impact in your fertility as well. So some activities that you can use to move forward from to a more balanced body weight are activities that are actually not that strenuous. We don't advise people to do activities that are like body camp training or extreme running. We advise you to take short walks several times a week, yoga, dancing, activities that you can enjoy, that are not only important for your body but important for your mind as well. So these are really simple things to do. Oh, alcohol. Alcohol is really important. What we know that research shows is that alcohol affects the ability, so men have a reduced libido, and it can affect their sperm quality as well. And it also reduces the chance of having a live birth and increases the risk of miscarriage. Now, these are the consequences when you are drinking huge quantities of alcohol. There is no research stating the effects of having a little bit of alcohol. So, whereas we usually advise people to reduce alcohol because we know the effect can be negative, we are unsure if the occasional glass of wine can have an effect or not, because that research has not been done yet. So it's all about being balanced with the amount of alcohol, with the amount of caffeine as well. So if you think about all the things that we have been talking about changes that you might need to make in your food and in your diet, in the amount of water that you need to intake, changes potentially in the amount of caffeine that you are drinking, and the amount of alcohol. So those are all small changes that you need to make. And now some people also smoke, so that's a big impact in your fertility journey. We know that people who smoke take longer to conceive. It's related to birth defects as well, and it can even cause diseases. If you eventually conceive, it can pass on diseases to the child. So smoking is a big one. So if you smoke, that would be a first step to search for help, because quitting smoking can be quite challenging. So quitting smoking is a big, important lifestyle change that you need to make in your fertility journey. So thinking about hydration, nutrition, and all these lifestyle changes, you might be considering what is my goal in terms of these changes. So I'm not sure if you can see my board. So I would like you to think about what is your goal in terms of your lifestyle changes, looking at your diary and what you usually do. What is it that you would like to change? Maybe you would like to drink more water. Sometimes people don't drink enough water. Or maybe you would like to reduce the amount of caffeine that you intake. So that would be your goal. The next question is, where are you right now in terms of that lifestyle? So you might tell me that you are drinking 3 cups of coffee a day, and your goal would be to drink just 1 cup of coffee a day, or that you are smoking, and at the moment you are smoking 10 cigarettes a day and you want to quit completely. So think about what your goal is and where are you right now, what is your reality. And the next thing that I want you to think about is what options are available to you. What is it that you can do to make the change? Can you talk to your partner, and maybe he can actually be supportive and go on this journey with you of making changes in your diet or in your hydration? Or can you speak to your GP if you're smoking or if you are finding it hard to reduce alcohol? Or can you find a group of people who are in this fertility journey together and are all trying to make these changes together? I found that having these small meetups and these groups really help to support each other in making these changes. And finally, once you know where you are and you know where you want to go and you have identified some options to take you there, choose a day to take action. So choose a day to take your action and let us know what happens. We are all rooting for you to be successful in your fertility journey. I hope you have enjoyed the video, and we'll be coming soon again with another theme, and you can leave your comments below. Bye.